Canelo Alvarez is only going to fight one time this year. His one time can't be against Johnson or Quigley or anybody on that level. It has to be a high-level opponent. And in my mind, there are only two of them. It's Callum Smith and Billy Joe Saunders. Welcome to Jabs on Dazn. Sergio, Eddie Hearn is returning to live boxing with events in his backyard. Would you ever fight in somebody's backyard?
What are you talking about? Barbecue boxing, Mannix, 1996. I was 15 years old. I was doing the exact same thing, only not in a mansion. I did it in the backyards of a carne asada in East LA. Barbecue boxing, backyard, same difference.
A little bit less money, though, I'm sure. We start with Canelo Alvarez, who is still without an opponent with just over 6 weeks to go before his proposed September 12th fight date. In an attempt to make a fight with Alvarez, Eddie Hearn told IFL TV, "Canelo, if you're listening, please choose one of our guys." Hearn went on to say he's offered Golden Boy several fighters as potential opponents for Alvarez, including Callum Smith, John Ryder, Demetrius Andrade, and Dimitri Bivol. But other lesser fighters, like Jason Quigley and Turiano Johnson, have also been rumored as possible opponents. So Sergio, who, if anyone, will Canelo fight on September 12th?
There's a deadline, a 6-week deadline. Now, they should have announced this fight a week or two ago. They need time to push and promote a mega event, whether there's going to be fans in attendance or not. At this point, Chris, I'm going to have to agree with you. I don't think it's going to be an elite name. It's not going to be Callum Smith. It certainly is not going to be Demetrius Bivol or anyone on that caliber. So now, if it does happen, if September 12th is going to be salvaged, it has to be John Ryder, Turiano Johnson, or the Irish kid. I can't think of anyone else. But also, Plan B will be for him to fight in November, just like he did last year. It was sad that he had to skip the Mexican Independent holiday, which we all love. But at this point, at 2020, what does it matter? Let him fight in November. Hopefully, the money could be announced and the fight with Callum Smith could be announced and everything can be all right. But other than that, it's 2020. What do you expect?
Well, I don't care if he fights in September, October, or November, but he can't fight John Ryder. He can't fight Jason Quigley. He can't fight Turiano Johnson. To me, the only two options for Canelo, whether it's September 12th or November 1st, are Callum Smith and Billy Joe Saunders. We know Billy Joe Saunders was out there as a likely opponent for May before this pandemic hit. So theoretically, you can go back to the table and make that deal for a little bit later on in the calendar. I still think that Callum Smith is a makeable fight for September 12th. Callum Smith is training. Canelo Alvarez is training. And while you want to make these fights and get them done sooner rather than later, there isn't as much urgency because you're not selling tickets for an event like this. Canelo's either going to fight at a place like Fantasy Springs or at some unique outpost like an Alcatraz or on an aircraft carrier. I just think the opponent, there needs to be a line in the sand that's drawn on the level. I don't care that it's 2020, that a pandemic is going on. Canelo Alvarez is only going to fight one time this year. His one time can't be against Johnson or Quigley or anybody on that level. It has to be a high-level opponent. And in my mind, there are only two of them. It's Callum Smith and Billy Joe Saunders.
I agree with you. And you made an excellent point there, which is a rarity. But because there's not going to be people in the stands and they're not going to have to push and promote this fight because of that, then maybe we might still get that Callum Smith or BJ Saunders fight in September 12th because there's not going to be that much of a promotional push behind this fight. It's just going to be getting the network, getting the two to agree, let's fight in 6 weeks. There's a slight chance, but if it doesn't happen this weekend, I'm telling you, Chris, 6 weeks is a deadline. I've never had a fight within under 6 weeks made. It's just, that's the deadline. We have to focus. We have to spar. We have to prepare for the game plan, the strategy. 6 weeks is a deadline. We have Friday, Saturday, Sunday to get Callum Smith or Billy Joe Saunders.
Moving on to Ryan Garcia, earlier this week, the WBC officially announced his fight with Luke Campbell. While Eddie Hearn says this fight isn't finalized, all signs point towards this fight happening in the near future. Sergio, what can we learn about Ryan Garcia in a fight against Luke Campbell?
A lot, because we're finally going to get to see Ryan Garcia with a fighter with the pedigree, with the ability, the boxing ability of a Luke Campbell, who won a gold medal for his country in 2012. Not anybody can win a gold medal. But here's the thing. Here's the thing where Luke Campbell might be suffering. There's a lot of gold medalists that never shine as professionals. That's what we're seeing with Luke Campbell. He came up short with Jorge Linares, and we came up short with Lomachenko, the world's best fighter. No shame there. But if he loses to Ryan Garcia, that's a third strike, man. And I just don't see Luke Campbell coming up after that, him being in his early 30s and boxing ability or not. It's just three strikes, you're out.
Look, I think that Luke Campbell is the absolute perfect opponent for Ryan Garcia. I think he's a better opponent than even Jorge Linares, which was a fight that I was excited about when it was first officially floated back in February, when Ryan Garcia picked up that knockout over Fonseca and Linares fought on his undercard as well. I think Luke Campbell is a step up because of his age. He certainly has been in with some tough fighters as well in recent years and fought them even better, shown a better chin than Jorge Linares has in some of his more high-profile fights. And for Ryan Garcia, Luke Campbell can be the stepping stone to bigger fights. We know that Ryan Garcia is not afraid to put his undefeated record on the line. He wants to fight Devin Haney right now. He wants to fight Tank Davis right now. But if you're his promoter, you want to see him take that bridge fight first. Luke Campbell is that bridge fight. He is a talented B+ level fighter. If Ryan Garcia beats Luke Campbell in anything close to the convincing way in which he beat Romero Duno or Francisco Fonseca, Ryan Garcia is going to be ready for the prime time in 2021. So this is kind of like his final exam before he enters the big leagues.
Final exam, I like that. I was going to say measuring stick, but final exam works with me. We said this with Duno. We said this with Fonseca. We keep saying this is the biggest test of the young Ryan Garcia's career, but this is the truth. Luke Campbell will be the hardest and the most difficult opponent that he faces because of his pedigree, and he'll be the best name on his resume. But he needs to take care of a guy like Campbell, and that fight needs to be made to see exactly what we have with Garcia.
And finally, Anthony Joshua seems closer to return to the ring after tweaking his knee a few months ago. Joshua told Sky Sports, "The knee is as good as it can be. I'm on 2 feet, and I'm sure we can start sparring. So I'll be looking for some sparring partners in about a week or two to start training camp." Sergio, should Joshua fight in 2020?
I think I can move up to 200 pounds. What does he pay for sparring partners? Yes, he should fight in 2020, this miserable year. He needs to forget about 2020 and concentrate on 2021. So get rid of his mandatory in Kubrat Pulev, which is not going to be a huge fight, whether there was fans in the stands or not. It's one of those fights that's going to be popular because of Joshua, not because of Pulev. So take care of his mandatory and then think about the undisputed championship of the world reset in 2020 with Tyson Fury.
Yeah, look, Eddie Hearn has floated December as a possible date for Joshua to return against Kubrat Pulev. And I think one way or the other, he should. Even if this pandemic is still ongoing and it limits or eliminates crowds or fans being in the stands, Anthony Joshua should go ahead with a fight anyway. Even if it's behind closed doors or in front of a limited amount of fans, he should go ahead and do it. To your point, Kubrat Pulev is not some big draw. So while Anthony Joshua consistently makes $5-10 million for his live gates, Pulev is the one opponent that's not really going to contribute to that. So if you're going to lose some money from a live gate, you might as well lose it against an opponent like Pulev. He's not in the same position that, say, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury are in, because they simply can't go forward with their third fight without having a crowd, because that crowd represents $15, $17, $20 million for that major event. So if you're Anthony Joshua, you take that fight. And I'll tell you, based on my conversation with Joshua over the last 6 months or so, I think he will. Joshua is the type of guy that seems to want to keep his career moving forward, to understand that just waiting forever just wastes time in your career. He's 30 years old. He's still got a lot of prime years left. Get through Kubrat Pulev, and then hope by the summer of 2021, the opportunity is there, both with the fight and Tyson Fury and the crowd that can be in attendance for that fight to take place, the biggest fight that can be made in boxing.
Yeah, having to handle your mandatories can always be annoying, but if you can take care of the pesky Pulev, Get him out of the way in 2020. Put that year behind you, and then just focus on Tyson Fury in the beautiful year of 2021 for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. Reset and move forward. It's on, man. I think he should take care of it.
By the way, I'd be happy to contribute to whatever fund needs to be contributed to get you as a sparring partner for Anthony Joshua. I'd also like to be there to watch when Joshua hits you.
I just got to eat, but I still got the defense, baby.